Land of bear and land of eagle, land that gave us life and blessing, land that called us ever homewards. We will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home. We will go home across the mountains. Land of freedom, land of heroes, land that gave us hope and memories. Hear our singing, hear our longing. We will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. Land of sun and land of moonlight, land that gave us joy and sorrow, land that gave us love and laughter. We will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. When the land is there before us, we have gone home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountains. Well, hello there. Saw you standing over there talking to the barkeep. Yeah, you look like you were having quite the discussion over there. Yes, you know, that does not surprise me. A human in Knapwin. It's bound to get some attention, isn't it? You know, I'd heard the rumours. News travels fast, city like this. But I didn't think I would have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. A human in Knapwin. Well, welcome to this fine city. And welcome to the Unturned Stone. Yeah. You know, there are quite a few taverns in Knapwin that you could choose from, but personally, I think you chose the best one. There's something about this place. It doesn't try to be overly fancy or overly anything, really. It just is what it is. A lot of the older folk choose this tavern, which that tells you something about how good it is. This may not be the most lucrative place that I sing, but it's definitely my favourite. I can say that for sure. Well, please, come closer. No need to be a stranger. Oh, the song I was singing, yeah, it's quite an old one, really. It's about these dwarves who came to this land. Well, the kingdom of Maledia wasn't a kingdom back then, but they came to this land from our homeland, which was a very harsh place to live. Let's just say that. It was harsh winters, temperamental weather, all sorts of challenges growing up there. It wasn't the most pleasant of places, but then again it made for some hearty folk. Stout of heart and stature, but mostly heart. But when there were some dwarves who came and lived here instead, they found themselves quite attached to the land here. Yeah, it was a new feeling. You know, in our other land, dwarves would leave home, and perhaps you'd miss your family. You know, you'd miss your love, you'd miss your parents, but you did not necessarily miss the place of home very much. But here, there's something about the land. It really is. It's something special. So anyway, there was this group of dwarves who they came here, they made the settlement of Knapwin, and then a group of them went on sort of an expedition through to other lands, looking for other people to trade with perhaps, or different types of resources. They ended up north of here, in the kingdom of Asmo, and they found themselves missing this place, missing home. So they wrote that song about it. And of course they did come home. Yeah. It's been our home now for, well, 1,000 years. Yeah. That's a good place to call home. Even with the obviously there are other races that live here, and that can bring some conflict with it, can't it? But it's still a good land. It's been good to us dwarves. It's rich with resources and gems and metals and, you know, places to grow food and to grow a family, really. That's a good land. Well, I don't have to tell you, you're a human, you know all about the blessings of this land, don't you? Oh, our old land. Yeah, it's, you know, most people don't really talk about it anymore. Mostly because no one's alive that remembers it. Like I said, that was 1,000 years ago or more. There's still a few stories, you know, that survive the time. A few songs too about that old land. Oh, you'd like to hear one? Well, sure. Got nothing against sharing some songs with a travelling stranger. Oh no, you don't have to pay. You know what? Having a human in Knapwin, especially staying at one of the taverns, I think you're gonna do quite a lot for my business here. I don't always stay in one tavern to sing, but if you're gonna be staying here, then I think I might just be staying here to sing too. Yeah, I think so. Because the more dwarves who come to gawk at the human, the more dwarves that stay to listen to me. Anyway, sure, yeah, let's see. It's quite an old one. I don't know that I remember all the verses. It might be a bit of a shorter one. But it's definitely full of a longing for something better. You know? Yeah. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, a noble bark I steer, steady course for the haven, humany foemen, humany foemen. Someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, a noble bark I steer, steady course for the haven, hew many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores. That's right. That was about the adventurers who would set out from this harsh, difficult land, looking for somewhere new. And it was very, very far from here, so a lot of times those people were never seen again. Yeah, rough waters, any number of unknown beasts and challenges that they may face. You might think it a bit strange nowadays to hear a dwarf singing about sailing on the seas. Since we've been here, we don't do a lot of sailing anymore. There's not really a need anymore, is there? We've got everything we could possibly need right here. We're people of the earth. That's what we're supposed to be anyway. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you kindly. Glad you enjoyed that one. Another? Well, aren't you just fascinated in the ways of the dwarves? It's good to hear, you know? I mean, a lot of us, especially those of us younger folk like me, we don't necessarily know that much about humans and human culture. Just what we've been told from the older folk. And quite a few of them don't necessarily have the best memories of humans. Let's just say that. So it's nice to know there's a human out there who cares about the history of this land of dwarves. This next song, it's I don't remember the origins of it actually. It's very old, very, very old song from a completely different age, and I think from a different land too. Yeah, it's I can't seem to remember. You know, some of these songs, they're passed down and they're part of the history, and some of them are just a story in and of themselves. You don't necessarily need to know exactly where they come from. Maybe the words of the song can paint the story in and of themselves, eh? Yeah. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to claim our long forgotten gold. The pines were roaring on the height, the winds were moaning in the night. The fire was red, it flaming spread, the trees like torches blazed with light. Far over the misty mountains cold, in dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to claim our long forgotten gold. Right, that one's a bit different. That's more a group of dwarves that were on some sort of a quest to regain something that had been stolen from them. You know, some people might hear that song and they just think, oh, it's just gold. That's just riches. You don't necessarily need to go to all that trouble. And maybe it sounds even greedy. But see, there's something more to it than that. It's not just about, you know, having fewer riches. It's about losing a home. You know, it was more than just the material riches. It was the security. It was the honor of it. You know, and when something is stolen, we dwarves, we are honorable creatures, to be sure. So having something wrongfully taken, that's something that needs to be answered for. Yeah. Not just for justice to be done in that particular situation, but just for everyone, really. To have the peace of mind knowing that when you work hard for something and you have it, you're going to get to hold on to it. When you apply yourself and you reap the benefits of that, no one can just come and take that from you wrongfully without being challenged. We dwarves are nothing if not honor bound. So if something dishonorable happens, we have to right that wrong, no matter what. Well, I hope that you got all set up for a room. I would presume, being in this tavern. Good. I hope you got a fair price. What? He gave it to you for that little, hey? Well, I don't know what your secret is, but whatever it is, good on you. I've never known the barkeep to be that fond of humans. It's a bit surprising, really. Oh, you don't want to tell me? Well, that's fine. I suppose you don't have to. You must have said something or done something. Interesting. I think you are going to make quite the stir in this town. Yeah, I'd say that. No, I don't mind at all. Between you and me, this town can get a bit repetitive. You know, for the dwarves who are the craftsmen or the blacksmiths or something like that, they've always got work, they've always got orders to fill, things like that. But those of us who don't find ourselves particularly gifted in those sorts of areas, who are maybe still trying to find who we are, it can be a bit, well, it gets a bit old, I suppose. Just now and then. I used to have a bit of excitement. Oh, you've noticed, yes, there are some dwarves around here that have got different markings on their faces and things like that. Those are tattoos, and they are symbolic of something. Yeah, those symbols. Everyone has slightly different ones, but there are patterns. Certain craftsmen, once they become a master in whatever field it is that they're pursuing, then they'll get markings, or perhaps a particularly brave warrior might get something after a victory. Or, you know, scholars might have them too after they've become sort of the authority in their field, things like that. And then of course you got youngins like me who haven't done anything yet. Well, no, not nothing, but nothing of importance to the older folk yet, I suppose. Oh, I said you don't have to. Well, thank you kindly. I won't turn down a coin, that's for sure. You know, a town like this aren't a lot of birds, I can tell you that. Maybe that's not surprising to you. That's not exactly a very lucrative job. Some days it's good, some days the older folk get nice and nostalgic for some of those older songs. Especially in a place like this, I tend to play the older ones. You know, the songs that really tell about Dwarven history. Those are the ones that they normally tip the bass for. But it sort of varies. But I think with you coming into town, my fortune might just be changing a bit. Well, you paid. Would you like one more song, perhaps? Right. Let's see, which one? Oh, this is one. It's another one. I don't remember the specifics of the story, but it's about a journey. A long journey. One that whoever was singing it was right in the middle of it. And sometimes when you're right in the middle of a journey and you can't see backwards to home and you can't see forwards to the finish, it can get a bit discouraging, I guess. But that's the time you just got to keep going, you know. I think everyone faces times like that now and then. Maybe you're on a journey right now, eh? Yeah. So that song, it's about that longing. But it doesn't have to stop there, you know? Yeah. Anyway. Home is behind, the world ahead. There are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade, all shall fade. That's so pretty, isn't it? What do you call this again? Money. Money. Oh, yeah. You know that other Herman that came by here? They had money too. Herman? No, that's not what you are. You're human. That's right. Human. Why do I keep saying Herman? I mean, I'm not very good with names, but why Herman? I guess it sounds alright, but less silly than human. Anyway, sure, I'll take some of your money. What did you want to know about that other human who came by here? Oh yeah, they were going to Nip-Nap. No, that's not what it's called. Oh, that's not what it's called. It's a big dwarf city. Yeah. You go that way, and then you go that way, and then you go that way, like down. It's underground, and it's big dwarf. Knapwin. That's it. Yeah, they were going to Knapwin. I don't know. And they didn't say. It's a bit strange, you know, a non-dwarf going to a dwarf city, because normally dwarfs don't let non-dwarves into dwarf cities. Just saying, even I know that, and I'm just a gremlin. I don't know what they thought they were going to be doing, but, you know, that's where they were going anyway. Yeah. Is it enough to keep the money? Money. You're right, money. I'm sorry, money. Is that enough information for you? Okay, good. It is quite pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's fascinating, isn't it? What do you mean I'm going to forget this conversation? You're only the second Herman I've ever met. I think I'm going to remember... What? What was I doing here? Was I thought I was talking to someone. Oh, they must have had to go. What is this? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's fascinating. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's rather pretty, isn't it? I wonder how that Herman got on, if they ever made it to Nip Nap or not. Oh well, I will never see them again anyway. It's just, it's so pretty. Pretty.